Krishna Hare Krishna. Today, we're going to continue reading from Srila Prabhupada's books, lectures, conversations on the topic of dying. We're also going to continue the story in Ratnavali, who remembered that she was a brahmachari in her last life. We are going to, when we finish this, we have a few things to read from Rabindra Swarup Prabhu, who had written about death, very interesting angle of vision. And then we're going to begin a new section, which is the spiritual world. So we've been describing death extensively. We've been going probably since, we've almost gone 2 months, I think. At least 7 weeks or so discussing the topic of death. And I think we've got a very good understanding of it. Of course, any topic in Krishna consciousness you could go on discussing forever. But I think we have a good understanding of it. And what I thought would be natural is to discuss the nature of the spiritual world. And so I started doing some research on that today. I think it's extremely important. Interesting, but important also in the sense that I think for many of us, the spiritual world is it's almost like a fairy tale, and it's difficult to imagine what it's like, or really that it even exists, that such a place could exist, because how could you exist in a place where you don't get old, there's no misery, you don't have to work? It's just inconceivable. So I think it's really important to discuss it, both what it is and philosophically, which Prabhupada describes. And so we may not get to that today, but we will get to that soon. So that's what's in store for all of you. And I was just recently told about another devotee who remembered, I think a devotee in England who also remembers his past life. I don't know him, but it's just interesting because it confirms a reality that we already know exists, but it's just interesting when there's somebody who remembers it. Final section, yes. We're going to be reading a document called The Time of Death, the final section. Yes, exactly. But first, it's time to chant Jai Radha Madhava. And take a little medicine, which I call Gandharva medicine, but I'm not sure it makes me sing like a Gandharva. So we'll call it anti-frog medicine. So at least I won't croak like a frog. Somehow early in the morning, I've been croaking like a frog. Let me get my keyboard. Hare Krishna. You see, this picture here, if you notice on my bookshelf, there's a picture here of a book. We're working on the cover of our new book. Everything you're seeing, is this backwards? Do you see it backwards, or can you actually read it? Because I see it backwards. Everything is backwards, like this is my right hand, to you it's left, right? I'm playing the harmonium. You see me playing the harmonium? Looks like I'm playing left-handed, yeah, anyway. Spiritual but not religious. This is it. One of the covers we may use. It was up on the bookshelf. Oh, and I wanted to show you. I made a video of this. I wanted to show you this box. Well, there's something inside the box. I wanted to show it to you. Yeah, it's backwards. This will also be backwards, but I think you can appreciate this. I received this book. And this book is made from cloth. And it's beautifully laid out. Nicely it's laid out. You'll see it backwards, but it's a beautiful book. And I was so excited to receive it. I've never received such a nice book. This was my birthday present. And all of your offerings are in here with this amazingly beautiful book. I just wanted to show it to you. And many of you worked on this book, and especially Nadine. She did the layout. She's from Germany, very talented. And this is the back of the book. And this is thread. Isn't that interesting? And it's printed in 2 colors on the cover and 3 colors in the book. So I wanted to thank all of you who worked on this. It was quite an upgrade from the past years, and it just shows me that. I was happy to see that. I liked it. It's nice that we do things professionally. So I was excited, not because the book is about me, but just because when I saw this book, I thought, well, what if we printed our own books like this? This is beautiful. And what if all our devotional service was like a very high quality like this? So we're going to do a little kirtan on Jai Radha Madhava, and then we'll begin. So let me get my keyboard. This keyboard is dangerous because it's on a stand, and I bang my toe twice on this stand. I think this room is a bit too small for everything. But anyway, when there's a problem having a material body. One of the problems is you bang your toe. Right? If you didn't have toes, there'd be nothing to bang. Okay, I have to raise the octave so I can sit closer to you. Jai Radha Madhava Kunjabi Hari Jai Radha Madhava Kunjabi Hari Gopi Jana Bhava Girivardhari Gopi Jana Bhava Girivardhari Shodhanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Shodhanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Shodhanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Shodhanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jai Radha Madhava Kunjabi Hari Radha Madhava Kunjabi Hari. I think we need a beat, right? We need something. Girivardhari Shodhanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Shodhanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Shodhanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Shodhanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Sri Radha Madhava ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Kantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Thai Go Premanande. Hari Hari Bo, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. One more time, everyone. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. That's like when the band finishes and everyone applauds and they come out and do an encore. That was my encore. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So, we're going to begin reading. This is a class Prabhupada gave in 1970. December 15th. I wonder where that class was. Was it Los Angeles? Prabhupada, no, this is 1970, no. 1969, Prabhupada was in Los Angeles in December. Just like the flavor is carried by the air, similarly, my mentality will carry me to a different type of body. If I have created my mentality like Vaishnava, pure devotee, then I shall immediately transfer to Vaikuntha. That's good to know, right? You know, we've been talking about creating the mentality of a Vaishnava. So here it is, ladies and gentlemen, in black and white. If I have created my mentality like a Vaishnava, pure devotee, then I shall immediately transfer to Vaikuntha. So when I read that, then I was thinking, well, of course, why would anybody, any devotee, want to think of anything else other than Krishna? Hold on a second. Don't go anywhere. I need to get something. Hold that thought of Krishna, and I will Be back in a second. I need to get something, but I can't find the something yet. Okay, I'm back with something. Did I make a little noise here? Okay, now we're good. I have something over my microphone. So, yeah, okay, so let's read on. If I created my mind as ordinary karmi, then I will have to stay within this material world to enjoy the type of mentality which I have created. Okay, here. The bad news is coming. Well, it's I don't know, it depends how you look at the news, but it's bad, but I think it'll help us. If I keep myself as a businessman doing business, naturally it is done so. In other words, naturally I would think about it all the time. One gentleman in Calcutta, he was a very big businessman, and he was dealing in shares. So, at this time, at the time of death, he was crying, Kamarhati, Kamarhati shares. He was chanting the name of the shares. The shares were called Kamarhati. That's pretty depressing. Kamarhati shares at the time was very popular to the people. So at the time of death, the result will be that he might have taken birth as a rat in the Kamarhati indistinct, whatever it was, the stock exchange. He may have taken birth as a rat in the Kamarhati stock exchange. Everybody say, very interesting. That is very interesting. At the time of death, whatever you think, that will carry you to a type of body. So I titled this, You Can Become a Rat. And the next thing that Prabhupada says is, Krishna is very kind. Yejata mam prapadyante. So it's almost like he's saying, this man, he's caught you. You can take birth. Maybe it was the company, Kamarhati. Maybe he could take birth. He was so attached to the stocks. Maybe he could take birth as a rat in the company. Eat their peanut butter or something. I think rats like peanut butter. Krishna is very kind. Ye tamam prapanyate. Bhagavad Gita 4:11. All of them, as they surrender unto me, I reward accordingly. Everyone follows my path in all respects, O son of Pratha. Anyone, whoever begs from Krishna any benefit, any type of things he requires from Krishna, Krishna gives him. Quote, all right, you're thinking like this, like a rat, you become a rat. You're thinking like a tiger, you become a tiger. You are thinking like a devotee, you become a devotee. You're thinking of me, please come to me. That's all. Simple truth. Wow. Simple truth. That's all. A lot of times Prabhupada would say, that's all. That's all means simple truth. That's a synonym for simple truth. That's all. That's the way it is. It's just like that. Yes? So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Straight from the Jagat Guru. We have heard Prabhupada say that an astrologer said that Nero had become a dog in Sweden. Interesting. Be careful. Be careful of what you're thinking. So, as I said, when I read this, to me, the natural conclusion was, why would you cultivate thoughts of anything else, knowing that you don't know when you're going to die, and you will become that. So now, this will sequel into the story we told yesterday, Ratnavali. She is a lady in London who had remembered, she had visions and dreams that she was killed in an auto accident, and she was actually in her last life. She found out that she was a brahmachari named Raghava, who the day before his initiation by Srila Prabhupada accepted him, but the day before the ceremony he died in an accident on the way to or on the way back from Harinam. And she remembers, she had a lot of dreams remembering this accident and visions. And then she went to visit what used to be the temple in Scotland, and she remembered, and there was a park, and she just like I know this park. She used to chant japa as the brahmachari named Raghava. And anyway, she did two things. Because she was getting so many signs that she was this person, she investigated a lot of the places and, met his parents. Anyway, it's a long story. I don't think the details are necessary, but things she would remember and things she would see and things that would catch her attention were things from that life. And it was so real that she did a past life regression, and then it came to be clear that she was a brahmachari named Raghava. And we mentioned yesterday something which I found to be the most interesting thing in the story, that when she investigated people who knew him, they're still alive. He left, I think, in 1972 or 1973. So the devotees who joined before knew him. He was from Scotland, Edinburgh. And they found out that there was a woman, Indian woman, and they found out that he was attached, or he was attracted. He never did anything, never said anything, but he was attracted. And that's why I find this story so interesting, because she, Ratnavali, is an Indian woman, but she has really the mind and the mood of a brahmachari. And even a lot of the people that deal with her kind of would deal with her like a brahmachari, so I was thinking, it was quite interesting to think about this. I was thinking about this morning while I was brushing my teeth. What do you think about when you brush your teeth? You think about profound things like death and past lives. Well, I do. And so I was thinking, here we have a young man who's a brahmachari and very nice devotee, enthusiastic, doing Harinam every day, as we did in those days. But as a normal young man, there was some attachment to a young girl. And so it was kind of a paradoxical situation. But I think all of us are often in these paradoxes. And that attachment must have been pretty strong for him to take birth as an Indian woman. But what I find so interesting is it couldn't have been that strong. It probably wasn't what he wanted. He probably wanted to be a renounced brahmachari, because that's basically how Ratnavali describes herself. He said, I've never really... She got married, stayed married for a while, but she said, I basically have the mentality of a brahmachari. And so I found that to be interesting, this kind of duality that we're in. And then I thought, I must have been a sannyasi in my last life who fell in love with a woman. Because when I was a young devotee, I was kind of like, I was like obsessed kind of with sannyas. I just thought it was like so beautiful. And it was like what you should do. But I was married. I was like, well, this is like, why would a married man be thinking about sannyas? And the man will say, if you met my wife, then you would know. Oh, that's a joke. No. But some of the men wanted to take sannyas because their wives were not so congenial. But I don't think that was my reason. I was just attracted. But I was, at the same time, it was like caught in the middle. I wanted to, but I wasn't completely qualified yet. So we all have certain mentality, obviously, and we can see from this story how, it's just like perfectly mirrors the mentality you get in the next life. And so often I've been talking about this, like that being true, no one should think like, okay, the next life, clean slate, everything's, I think a lot of devotees think like that. Well, I might not be perfect in this life. Next life, clean slate. Well, no, not exactly clean slate, because the subtle body continues. So we can see that this brahmachari was thinking of a woman, now got a woman's body, but still thinking like a brahmachari. It's like interesting, isn't it? Very, very interesting. So, Sunita is putting up a link to a document, which you can read more about it. And I'm going to read, Sunita, I took some selections from this. Now, Sunita had corrected me. I said Raghava was from London, but Raghava was from Scotland. You're from Scotland? If you go to Scotland and you're from America, sometimes you'll have a difficult time understanding them. A little bit. Or as the sarcasm comes out of me when they're speaking, I say, Prabhu, could you say that in English? I didn't understand. So, but it's interesting, you go north in the United States, the accents change, and you go into Canada, it changes. You go north in England, accents change. And so as you get north in America, at least in central, even in New York, the accents start becoming similar to the Canadian accent. And you go north in England, the accents start becoming more similar, isn't it? To the Scottish accent. All glories to the Scottish. They invented golf. That's what they're famous for. Kamini says, she's grateful I didn't take sannyas. Krishna wouldn't let me. My wife's also grateful. Krishna, I feel so protected by Krishna. Okay, here's my story. I just, the GBC in Los Angeles, it was a lot of competition going on, and they were competing with another party called the Radha Damodar Party, and the Radha Damodar Party was making sannyasis. So had all these sannyasis and brahmacharis, and the sannyasis are the leaders of the brahmacharis. And he came up to me and said, you should take sannyas. And I said, yes. Because I had that stupid side to me that I thought I could do it. So I was 29 at the time, and so he said, okay, you're going to take sannyas this year in Mayapur. So I went to Mayapur, and that year, several sannyasis had given up their sannyas. And so the GBC decided that we need to think about this because so many sannyasis are having difficulty. So they put a moratorium. They said, until further notice, until we figure this out, no one's going to take sannyas. And so, I had come to Mayapur that year to take sannyas. And I immediately knew, oh, Krishna, you protected me. Probably I wouldn't have made it, and you have protected me. So I always felt protected by Krishna. Whenever I was about to do something stupid, a lot of times he would intervene. Yeah. I'm English, and I have to concentrate really to understand some of the Scottish brogue. Yeah. Barfi. Prabhu, I have some barfi. I'm quite hungry. I'm hungry, I want some barfi. I'm hungry, I want some barfi. Yeah. Something like that. English is interesting. So I have something I'll read about Raghava, and this is questions that were asked to Ratnavali about Raghava, who she was in her last life. And so So here's the question. If Raghava had been chanting 16 rounds for some time and had given his life to Krishna by becoming initiated, even giving his entire life savings as symbolic of this, he had $200. Prabhupada accepted him. He had $200. He gave that to Prabhupada. And so Prabhupada accepted him. You are my initiated disciple. Your name is Raghava. And then Prabhupada initiated by mail. So then they would, after they got the letter, they would perform a yajna. He died in the accident the day before the yajna was going to be performed, but he was accepted by Prabhupada. So it's not necessary to do the yajna once Prabhupada accepted him. Why do you think Krishna did not come and take Raghava back to Godhead if he was initiated and sincere? So Ratnavali says, Raghava had only joined in 1972, left his body in 73. He was not ready to go back to Godhead, as he had some attachments left. So he got a chance to continue devotional service. Raghava also had some feminine attachments, so got a female body. So I think there's a statement here by Prabhupada. I don't have it, so I'm going to try to state it by memory. They asked, he was supposed to be initiated, so by Revadinandan, Swami was going to do the initiation. And he told Prabhupada to happen, and Prabhupada said just everyone should pray for him, for his well-being, and he will come back in his next life and continue his devotional service. He'll be in a nice position. And Ratnavali, I said, maybe we're going to read this, but just in case I didn't copy this, Ratnavali said, I never had really in my life any worries about money. I always had enough money. And she said, probably because I gave Prabhupada all my money, the 200, that in this life I'm taken care of. Okay. In this life as Ratnavali, I have always been looked at. Yeah, I have always been looked after financially, even if I don't have much money. And I feel this is because I had given my life savings to Srila Prabhupada in my last life, and I'm continuing devotional service. Okay, everyone. Turn in your money now. In the Bhagavatam, Prabhupada says, how do you become wealthy? Well, give money to a Vaishnava. Then in your next life, you'll have more money than Bill Gates. You have unlimited. You won't even know what to do with it. It'll be, I have too much money. It's taking up too much space in my house. I don't know what to do with all the gold. Yeah. Okay, so now she's talking about regressions. Both regressions show that I was a young brahmachari performing Harinam with Tribhuvanat Prabhu. There were some scenes of Srila Prabhupada which made me very emotional. In other words, she saw in regression Prabhupada. After both regressions, on the following mornings, coincidentally, I had exactly the same reoccurring dreams that a man with long hair falls asleep on the steering wheel, and I am in the back of the vehicle, and the vehicle crashes, and that devotee with long hair, his name is Krishnadas, and he's still alive today, and she met him and explained everything, and he felt very, very guilty about this because he fell asleep, and Raghava died, and it's interesting that they got to talk about it and make peace with it. January 2002, I had a dream that Krishnadas was calling out, Raghava, Raghava, Raghava. After a few weeks, I also had another dream where I was trying to tell him that I was his old friend, Raghava, but he could not see me. I had many nightmares of vehicle crashing that seemed to be ongoing and horrific. That's how she died. I also had a few dreams of Edinburgh, such as I'm going up the stairs of the temple for Srimad Bhagavatam class. Edinburgh. Edinburgh. Yeah. At this point, it is clear that you already knew about Raghava, which people could say calls into question the validity of your regression therapy and your dreams about the man falling asleep at the steering wheel and the other dreams. Can you add anything at this point to make these particular regression therapy and dreams more valid? I'm just reading this just because I kind of feel like when you take something philosophical, especially, something you can't see, it's only in Shastra, you have to believe it. Nobody, next life, past life, but nobody's seen it. So this is, I don't know, I think in a sense it's nice to read about or learn about something that would build our faith. The regression was done once, then again 2 weeks later, because I wanted to see if it would be any different the second time. Both the regressions and the dreams on the same nights were the same. Even if you try to dream the same dream, it does not usually happen. She had the same dream. Oh my God. I had information about Raghava before, but was not fully convinced, so was guided by my spiritual teachers to verify if more could be revealed by regression to investigate my subconscious memory. The subsequent identical dreams were also indicative of my identity as Raghava. Other dreams started adding up in chronological order, as in the diary, even before getting info on Edinburgh and Raghava. I was seeing the temple and nearby park in dreams. She had dreams. There's this park he used to chant japa in. She was having dreams of that and dreams of this building, which is the temple. Now it's a pub, I believe. It's like a jigsaw puzzle where I'm trying to fit many pieces. That is how it was revealed to me. Whether the order would make entire sense to skeptics is another thing. Anyway, Hare Krishna. So, now, if you have no questions about this, I thought this was a little bit of, I don't want to call it entertainment value, because this is, it's reality. But there is some entertainment value in the sense that it may build faith for some, or it just may not add a few grains of faith. So now, we, a few days ago, were reading an article by Ravindra Swarup Prabhu, and these are excerpts from it, and I thought it was a brilliant article. And he quotes Prabhupada in it. And it's about facing our own mortality. So, if you could bring that up, Kamaniya, and that begins on page 1 under the subheading Face the Facts. He had mentioned, when we read this last time, it's realization value rather than entertainment value. Faith value also. So Arjuna asked Krishna, how can one engage in devotional service remember you at the time of death? So we had discussed that how interesting that question was, that Arjuna is thinking, to remember Krishna at the time of death is the goal. And so that indicates the context of that culture, that they understood the value of dying in Krishna consciousness. I think modern society is, very, very focused on perfecting material things. You can see that with what's going on in the world today. Material perfection is like everything. What a vacuum this society has created. And, you look at society and you think, wow, there's so much ignorance there. But this ignorance is such an opportunity for us. What is the name of that doc? The name of the doc is Ravindra Swarup Prabhu .pdf. That's supposed to be Prabhu, a pa got put on the end. I don't know if that's a word, Prabhu pa. Ravindra Swarup Prabhu. That's the name of the document. And this big vacuum in society today. And we look at it and we think, it's become so degraded that everyone is just trying to perfect their material life, their material talents, their professions, and so on. It begins with Arjuna is concerned about remembering Krishna. Real happiness is not in the world is not, that's another document. That's the one, that's called In the Spiritual World. This is from a few days ago. Maybe 2 weeks ago, actually. Anyway, if you don't have it, I thought you had it, so I didn't send it. You don't have it? Krishna Karshini has a question, and I have to answer that. Okay. I'm going to send Kamaniya this document so that you can all see it. Because most of the document is going to be a purport that Srila Prabhupada has written. My computer is like a tortoise. Don't you just love to sit and wait and do nothing? It's so much fun. Isn't it? We live in the country here, and the internet is old-fashioned. And we talk to the guys, and it's going to stay old-fashioned for like the next yuga or so. So sometimes things are slow. Just give me 10 more seconds and we'll have this done. One, two, three. It's gone. Okay. She has it. So we'll answer that. Oh, she does have it. She has it again. Okay, let's look for Krishna Karshini's question. I think we're going to do a new feature. I'll have to get one of you to volunteer to do this, but one of the things that I'm not doing is following comments after the class is put up on Facebook and YouTube, and there are comments and questions there. And I think I was just talking to my consultant who's consulting me how to expand things on social media, and he said that I should answer or address the comments and questions. So I think we're going to start doing that. We'll get one of you to go through the comments and questions for videos I put up, and then we will answer them that way. We create more interaction. Okay. So Krishna Karshini says, why Krishna protected you to make stupid thing, meaning taking sannyas? I'm wondering, why did he not protect others and they fail? What do you think is the reason? Well, that's an interesting question, which naturally I thought about it because a detail is an interesting detail. I won't mention names, but at this time in Mayapur, when they put a moratorium on sannyas, they made one exception because there was one devotee who had done some amazing service to Prabhupada. And they thought, we don't have the heart to deny him sannyas. We have the heart to deny everybody else, but not him. So he was given sannyas that year. He was the only one, and whoever else came to take sannyas didn't get it. In those days, getting sannyas was not that hard. If your GBC recommended you, pretty much, unless there was some scandal you were involved in, presently or in the past, it wouldn't be a problem. They would give it to you. So this one devotee got it, and what happened to that devotee? 3 guesses. Yeah, you're right. He didn't make it. He got married, which is, Prabhupada accepted that. This was after Prabhupada left, but Prabhupada accepted, they tried and they failed. I'll at least let them continue. So then this question, which Krishna Karshini is asking, I've also thought. I can just say personally, from my personal experience, that any time that I was about to enter a situation which probably would have been detrimental to me in my spiritual life, Krishna had come and just like stepped in front of me, like, you're really angry. Well, your ladies wouldn't know this, but like, you're a guy and you're really angry. And, you grew up fighting in the street, and this other guy's getting you really angry, and you're like ready to fight. And then some guy who's bigger than both of you, he just walks in between both of you, and you can't fight because he's in the middle. And so I kind of felt like that in my life with Krishna. And I thought, this is interesting. He's like saving me all the time. Not only this time, but he saved me from other dangers. And then I would think like you, but others he didn't save. And I don't know, I can't say this for sure, but my mood has always been, this is what I want, but Krishna, if you don't want it, then I don't want it. I just want to be Krishna conscious. That's what I want. And I think this will be good for my Krishna consciousness. But I always had the mood of, it's not, I'm not determined for it to happen. And I think some people probably were more determined. They really wanted it. And Krishna said, okay, this is what you want. Prabhupada also said, when he was asked, why did you give so many young men sannyas? He said, because they're bothering me. It's kind of like, okay, stop bothering me. Just take sannyas tomorrow. Okay, get out of here. He didn't say it like that, but that's the impression I got when he was, because they were saying, these men are young, and so many of them are falling down. So why are you giving them sannyas? Oh, they're bothering me. They keep asking me. Prabhupada, give me sannyas, give me some. So there were those who were very determined to take sannyas or have some position. And my mood was always, yes, I'm determined, but not that determined that it was kind of like, my mood was always like, Krishna, do you want this? Is this real? I was really open to Krishna's intervention. So, I can't speak for other people, but I think, I don't know. It's hard to answer this question. I could answer this question to myself, what I think, but if I answer it to you, then it might sound like I'm proud. But I'll try to explain it in a way. Anyway, I'll make a disclaimer. I'm not explaining this to glorify myself, and I'm not explaining this to minimize anybody. But I just feel like my personal relationship with Krishna and Prabhupada was like whatever you want me to do or not do, I'll accept that. That's what I want. Even though I'm heading in a certain direction. If you don't want that, then just put a roadblock there. And I won't fight it. I will take it as a sign that this is what you want. So I think that mentality probably has saved me, that I wasn't adamant about anything if there were signs that maybe that shouldn't be done. So, and I think Krishna saw that in me and said, okay, if there's danger, I'll put the detour sign for you. So this happened later. I was married before, and my wife, this upset her that I was going to take sannyas, and it kind of really put a crack in our relationship. And later, she left, and then I thought, okay, well now I can take sannyas. And the same thing happened again. The GBC, who was supposed to put me on the list for sannyas, when he came back from Mayapur, I said, did you put me on the list? And he said, oh my God, I totally forgot. Okay, all right, Krishna, you know better than I do, right? So I always kind of felt like Parikshit Maharaj, like Krishna would, like if I couldn't protect myself, Krishna would protect me. I don't know if you have the same experience or feel that way, but I've always felt in my devotional service a little bit like a child who doesn't always know what to do, but is sincere enough that Krishna would intervene. Or maybe it's just my mentality. I don't know if sincere is the word, but maybe helpless. But I always felt helpless to be Krishna conscious, and I always felt I needed Krishna to intervene, and I always felt like he would intervene if I was going the wrong way, like if I fell asleep at the wheel, he would like wake me up somehow or other. Or if the car was veering to the left, he would tell me go right. So it is a very interesting question. It's actually something I think about a lot, and I think it's one of the most interesting questions. Why this one and not that one? Why did this happen to you? You could never take sannyas. Why did Krishna not allow it? Why? 2 times. And then I even asked, 3 times. Then I asked Prabhupada, could I take sannyas? And he said no. So there were 3 chances, 3 attempts. And you might say, but it certainly seems like you were determined. And it does seem it, but I wasn't that determined that when the sign was don't do it, I just didn't do it. And then that last attempt was in 1992 or 93 when the GBC forgot. And then after that, I thought, I don't think Krishna wants me to take sannyas. I don't think I'm ready. And I gave up the desire. It's completely like now, it's like, to me, it's neither here nor there. If Krishna, and I always think in the back of my mind, I have really now no desire other than I just want to make people Krishna conscious, and whatever can best facilitate that, and I'll do it. And I don't really have a desire to take sannyas. I don't know if it would even be favorable. But I still think if at some point in my life Krishna indicates that's what's meant to happen, then it'll happen. I won't fight it. Of course, my wife won't let it happen. So then I don't worry about it happening. But in something I couldn't imagine, some scenario where it would happen, then I would take it. If that's Krishna's arrangement, I would take it, because certainly he made arrangements for it not to happen. So if it's going to happen, he would make arrangements for it to happen. Right? That's the way I think. But I just don't know why I was so obsessed with it. It was maybe I was a sannyasi and I failed, and I just wanted to do it again. Or maybe I was a grihasta and I was unhappy and I wanted to renounce and I could never renounce, and in this life, who knows what's going on. But what I have, one of the things that I've gained from these classes, because I think the person who speaks gains the most, one of the things I've gained from these classes is just how careful we need to be about the consciousness we're cultivating right now, because it's not like it doesn't matter. Look at this. Raghava becomes a woman because there was a woman in his heart. So, we might think, well, I'm just normal. He's a normal young man thinking of a woman, and that's true. He's a normal young man thinking of a woman. But the result of that was he took birth as a woman, another birth. Nothing, she's a great devotee, but he could have gone back to Godhead had he not cultivated, had that desire not been there. So I think that's really, really one of the most important things we can take from this, that to not be Krishna conscious, to not be cultivating Krishna consciousness, to be cultivating other consciousness, it's dangerous. And I think a lot of us think, well, I'm going to live another 20, 30, 40 years. If you're younger, 50, 60 years. So I have time to cultivate Krishna consciousness. So a little bit of Maya here and there, it's not going to make, it's just a speck on a white sheet. It's not going to make a difference. Well, it made a difference for her. It made a difference for Bharat Maharaj. It made a difference for a lot of people who've come back, who could have gone back to Krishna but didn't. So I think that's an important distinction to make. Don't you agree? You agree? Don't you think so? That, and Prabhupada said, as you know, Prabhupada said, or you may know, Prabhupada said, the problem with you Westerners is you're not afraid of Maya. And so what did Prabhupada mean by that, we're not afraid of Maya? Because you're not afraid to dabble in Maya. You're not afraid to get close to the fire. You think, I'll get close, but I won't get burnt. He said, and so Prabhupada saying you're not afraid of Maya is that you're foolish because you will get burnt. And you think you won't, but you will. That's the foolishness. No, I won't get burnt. Yes, you will. If you get near fire, you're going to get burnt. And I think also, in looking at Prabhupada, looking at us, I think sometimes he would look at us and he wouldn't say this, but I kind of get the sense he would look at us and think, I can't believe that you're not 100% surrendered. You're not 100% engaged because look what you have. It's like if I told you I could make you a billionaire, I would expect you to be pretty enthusiastic about it. Well, let's consider you're not a devotee, or even a devotee who wants to make a lot of money. I would expect you to be pretty enthusiastic. And I say, it's not that hard, but you just have to do what I tell you, and you have to do it every day, and it's going to happen. I would expect you to do it, and I would expect you to be serious about it, right? And if you're not, and you don't do what you need to do to be successful, I would think, what's wrong with you? I just can't figure you out. You're working some job, making $10 an hour, and I could show you how to make $1 billion, and you're kind of not really putting your energy into it. Doesn't make sense. I think that's kind of how Prabhupada looked at us. Like here you have this chance to develop Krishna consciousness in the mood of the gopis in this life, and you're like spending all this time being diverted by this and that. Like, what's wrong with you? Like, I don't understand. I really feel that was, it wasn't, how should we say it? It wasn't the way Prabhupada communicated it, but I think that definitely was there. Like, you're all very covered, and you just don't realize what you have, and you play with Maya too much, and you have so many excuses for playing with Maya. I've got my excuses for playing with Maya. Play, 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 play with Maya. It's okay, okay, okay. Don't worry, play with Maya. You'll be okay, okay. And all that thinking is it's just Maya speaking to us. I discovered this. I was studying, this book came to me. Actually, it was a lecture came to me by a lady who was explaining why people don't like themselves. And she said, it's because, and often it's because they had parents who made them feel like there was something wrong with them. Why aren't you like this? Why aren't you like Johnny next door? Why can't you do this better? Why are you so stupid? Why do you do everything wrong? So they had parents like that. And so when they grow up, they think, I'm so stupid, I do everything wrong. And she was saying, actually, you don't think like that. You're just repeating what your parents said. It's their dialogue that's going on in your head. It just seems like it's your dialogue. It seems like that's how you think about yourself. But actually, you don't. It's not you who thinks that way. You're just repeating, as if it were your own words, what they said, because you believe, they got you to believe them. Or you were young and vulnerable, so you believed it. So I think it's really important for us when we have all these excuses and rationale. It's just a little bit of Maya. There's this story. It was very early days. I kind of know the story, more or less. We'll get the essence. In the early days, and there was a devotee with Prabhupada. Maybe there was an airplane or something. There was some sitar music. Okay. Sitar. Where's my sitar? Hold on. We need sound effects. This should come under, maybe it'll come under guitar. I don't know. We're going to take a chance and see if we can find it. We need some sound effects. We've got distortion guitar. That didn't help you, right? I don't think I'm going to find it. Hawaiian guitar. No. Sorry, everyone. You don't get to hear my sitar. It's probably hiding in some place. Most of these things have ethnic. Oh, it's your lucky day. Hold on. We may find it. Then I can tell the story better. Hold on. So there was, a devotee was hearing some sitar. So they were hearing probably Ravi Shankar, Ravi Prabhu. And, you know, in the early days of ISKCON, it was kind of funny. Anything Indian was synonymous with Krishna consciousness. So we're young devotees who thought, oh, it's Indian, it's Krishna conscious. So devotees with Prabhupada and hearing this music. And the devotee said, isn't that music nice, Prabhupada? Ravi Shankar, isn't that nice? And Prabhupada said, it's Maya. And the devotee said, but Prabhupada. But Prabhupada, it's nice. They're going back and forth. But Prabhupada, it's Indian, it's sitar, it's, you know, the gopis play stringed instruments, blah, blah, blah. And then Prabhupada, he said, okay, it's nice, but it's nice Maya. So, I've got some nice Maya in my hand. I got some nice Maya in my... So, Maya is nice, not nice. It's Maya. So, yeah, that was... I think... we think, well, you know, it's fire, but it's... This fire, you know, this fire won't burn. This is nice fire. This fire is special. This fire comes from India. Indian fire is different. You know, you don't get burned by Indian fire. No, you do. Nice Maya. It's nice Maya. Should we make another t-shirt? Don't worry, Prabhu, it's nice Maya. You're in Maya. No, I'm not. But it's nice Maya. I think Prabhupada meant it's okay, it's Sattva-guna. It's okay, it's Sattva-guna. So you just come back in Sattva-guna, but you'll come back in a material body. Okay. That's my realization. Nice. Should we call this class nice? It's nice Maya. It's nice Maya. Komati, you're going to help me address the questions and comments, right? So many questions people post, and I just don't have time to, I barely have time to brush my teeth or drink water. I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy. You have no idea. I don't know. When I came back here, it was like I've never been in one place so long. I said, now I can do all these things that I wanted to do like 40 years ago. Now I can finally do them. All these like preaching ideas. So I'm like overwhelmed. You know, a lot of people are like, nothing to do. I just read all day. And I'm like, oh my God, come over and help me. I need 72 hours a day to get everything done. So I have a question from Divya Singh-Dash from Delhi. Is the difference when someone comes to Guru Sadhu for sannyas, and if he gets it, Srila Prabhupada did not want sannyas. His brother asked him and convinced him. It depends. Some people Prabhupada wanted to give sannyas. Anyway, I think the real message is we need to be really honest about where we're at and what we need, and be very open to Krishna's, guidance internal, like this is right, this is wrong. Be very willing, not attached. Be very willing to do what will be best. I think that's important. I'm not sure if that's what you were asking, but yeah, I left space for Krishna to intervene. Satyarupa is my editor. That's it. That's what I wanted to say. That's why I need an editor. Looks like you left space for Krishna to intervene. Okay, Satyarupa, that's the title of today's class. That's why we have editors. Leave space for Krishna to intervene. Okay, that's it. Leave space for Krishna to intervene. Okay, Gomati, just send me an email or a message and we'll talk about it. I know exactly what to do to answer all these questions that people write. It's part of the process of, you put things out and you have to interact with people. I've never felt so consciously grateful to the GBC for first blocking and then for getting your request. See, the GBC is not as bad as you thought, right? They do good things, like blocking my sannyas, yeah. Hare Krishna. Wow. Grihatake vano take sada hari bali take. You can be a grihasta, a manaprastha. You can be a sannyas, you can live in the forest, but chant Hare Krishna. That's Bhaktivinoda Thakur said. Parker says, little tricky for me to balance preparing for the future materially and focusing on Krishna consciousness right now. Yeah, that's in the balance class on Thursday morning. It's always a balancing act. You got to balance between your needs, your desires, your nature, your inspiration, your aspiration. See, the problem, Parker, is this is my realization of this whole saga with taking sannyas. You have this aspect of you which is, this is what I want. This is what's beautiful. This is my goal. And he can be emotional. I can feel this way. I could feel very renounced. But then I have to be completely aligned with that. Body, mind, soul, words, and spiritually advanced enough to do that. So what we have, this strange combination in Kali Yuga, we get this mercy of something very high given to people who are not very high. So that when you look at that mercy, you get very inspired. But when you look at where you've come from, you realize, oh, it's like you, Parker, you get inspired. I'm going to run a mile in like 3 minutes. I don't know what the world record is now, but let's say the world record is, you're going to break the world's record, and this just like occupies your mind. And you're practicing and practicing, and finally your coach says, you just don't have the body, your body can't do this. It's impossible. It doesn't matter how much you prepare for this, you can't do it. So it's kind of like that. I have a mind, I have a mentality, this is what I want in Krishna consciousness, but there's another reality of where I'm at. And so we get this paradox. And sometimes we don't realistically adapt to where we're at. And we just foolishly think we could achieve what we aspire to achieve. You know that story I told many times where this lady, she's asking her Guru Maharaj was Tamal Krishna Maharaj. She said, I want to live near the temple. And Dallas Temple has houses near the temple. And most of the devotees live within 2-minute walking distance of the temple, or less than 2 minutes, 1 minute. Yeah, 1.5 minutes if you live really far. So it's still like that today. And then there are suburbs, and a lot of people live in the suburbs because suburbs you get more bang for your buck, they say. It's cheaper. Get bigger homes for less. And the neighborhood is nicer. The Dallas neighborhood is not always where people would want to live. It's not as nice as other neighborhoods. So she was living away from the temple, a nice neighborhood, and so forth, but she was like really thinking, I want to be with the devotees. I want to be close to the temple, close to the deities. So she's always thinking of the devotees and the deities. So she wrote to Krishna Maharaj and said, I really, really want to live near the temple. He said, no, live where you are. And so he understood her. He said, now you have this hankering because you're not near the temple. That's why you're feeling that way. But if you live near the temple, you won't feel that way. You probably won't even go to the temple. Do you realize there's people who live next to temples that never go to the temple? Devotees. Yeah, it happens for some reason. So, this is what I want. I'm hankering Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. Yeah, but you don't realize your level of advancement. You don't realize your capabilities. So, there's this balance, and you have to adjust and say, okay, I want this, but I'm actually here. So, I have to come back here. So this is realistic. And that can be painful because your mind and your heart is like up here. No, this is what I want. And your guru says, yeah, but you're not qualified for this. You're down here. You need this. Well, what's down here? Get a job, make money, change diapers, mow the lawn, take out the trash. That's what you need. No, I just want to distribute books all my life. Yeah. And one day, you're going to distribute books on your life and you're going to fall in love with the girl you're distributing books to, right? I had given a talk. I don't know, Krishna inspired me. We were in Lithuania doing a marriage workshop. And so in one Bhagavatam class, I was saying, you know, the cure for purifying your sex desire, okay, it's Krishna consciousness, chant like Thakur Haridas, and no problem. But if you can't do that, the cure is change the diapers, mow the lawn, take out the trash, wash the dishes. That's the cure. And you say, well, it's like such a waste of time. Like Nadia was saying, I'd rather be fully engaged. And if I get married, then I do all these other things that's going to intervene with my service. But the reality is, if I have a desire and I can't renounce it, transcend it, purify it, then the way to purify it is to engage it according to rules and regulations. So when you get married, Prabhupada said, okay, you can get married, you can have sex for children. And then the thought is, wow, well, that's only a few times. It's kind of a bad deal. I said, yeah. So then you might think, well, if I have sex a few times and I have to work for the next 40 years, maybe it'd be easier not to have sex. So that's a thought. So that's what marriage life, that's how it makes you think. And then, but if you can't do that, then you get married, you raise a family, you work, and do the other things that come with it, like take out the trash, wash the dishes, mow the lawn, paint the house. My wife just painted our whole house by herself. Can you believe that? I couldn't believe it. It's amazing. The whole house. She says, well, now we're here in the lockdown. Our house needs painting. You call people in. They want like $3,000 to paint the house. And so you buy the paint for like $100, $150, a few brushes, and she painted the house. It's like, wow, amazing. So I was saying, when you get married and you do all those things, then you think, And, after your kids are grown up and everything's out, you think, wow, that was a lot of work for a little bit of sex. That sex was like, they say, what do you spend on the average kid? Something like $1 million, 20 years. How could you spend $1 million on? Oh, I always say $500,000. You spent a lot of money. It's, if you actually add it all up, if you've been married 20, 30 years, you've spent, you spent a lot of money. Definitely. Definitely. Yeah, you're over $1 million for sure. If you live in America. As long as you live in America, you're going to spend that much. And so you're older and you look back and you say, that sex was pretty expensive and it took a lot of work. But if you didn't do that, you wouldn't be that detached now. You had to do that to get detached. That's just the reality. And, my mind wants to be detached. I'm 20 years old. I feel it. Sannyas, what a life, just preaching, distributing books, traveling. This is it. But you have to deal with the reality of the physical body and the psychophysical nature. And so sometimes you have to force. The guru goes, down, get down, boy. We say, why? I want to be up here. Because you're actually here. You just think you're up here. Of course, you're living like you're up here because you're a brahmachari. But inside, you're actually down here. And if you try to stay up here, you're not going to be down here. You're going to be way down here. You're going to just crash below this. So rather than crash below this, make a nice landing. Safe landing. And then from here, throughout your life, by the time you're 60, 70, you'll be up here thinking, yeah, I just want to preach. I just want to do this. I just want to do that. I don't have any other desire. Why? Because I went through 30, 40 years of mowing lawns, going to the office 8 hours a day, changing diapers, washing dishes. It's true. It sounds funny, but it's true. And that's how you become purified. And so if you can't do it the direct way, you have to do it the other way. And that's a hard thing for a lot of devotees to accept. These are realities you have to accept. If I can't transcend it or purify it one way, I have to do it. I have to face it and deal with it another way. So I'm not trying to minimize Grihastha life or put Grihastha life down. Everyone who's a Grihastha knows that it's a lot of work. It was more work than when I was a brahmachari. And that work has helped me grow in so many ways and detached me. I'm living with the opposite sex. I'm used to it. It doesn't look like something. I know what it is. I know the nature of the opposite sex. I know, when you're my age and you see, young boy and young girl, they fall in love and they're just so happy together and everything. You look at them and say, it's true, you're happy together and it's nice, but you say, but you don't realize yet what it means to live together for the next 40 years. It's a lot different than a Bollywood movie. It's not going to be all kinds of dancing, It's going to be a little punching also. The Bollywood movies, everybody's dancing, they're happy, right? But in real Grihastha life, you'll dance also, but you'll punch as well. So it's not just dancing. And it's not just, it's not Hollywood or Bollywood. And so a lot of people get married and they're like in shock of how difficult it can be. So, but those difficulties are necessary to detach and purify and say, I want to live with a man or a woman. I didn't realize how hard it was. Like what's involved. I thought it was just going to be all fun. We're just going to dance all the time. If you want to play, you have to pay. And I wrote an article. If you go to my website, mahatmadas.com, the article it's under newsletters. If you want to play, you have to pay. Or it's in my book, Living the Wisdom of Bhakti. If you want to play, you have to pay. It's about this topic. So that's the balance, Parker. That's the realistic, that's the reality. And if you could actually renounce, if you're actually qualified, then the symptom of that is you just would have no inclination for anything. You would not be adverse to it at all. I'm not going to do that because these women, they're just like so emotional and I don't want to have to deal with that. No, that's not the qualification of a brahmachari. Qualification of brahmachari is women are nice, whatever, grihastas are nice. I'm just not inclined. I just don't. I don't think about it. I don't feel the need for it. It's not a challenge for me. I'm not attached. But, if I go on to Sankirtan and fall in love with every third girl I distribute a book to, yeah, probably, Grihastha is the better ashram for you when you're qualified. But if I'm out on Sankirtan and, I'm falling in love with all the girls I'm distributing books to, and I think, yeah, this Sankirtan is fantastic. I just want to take sannyas. Well, you're, you don't have your feet on the ground. You have your head pointed towards Krishna Loka, but you have no idea where your feet are. Your feet need to be in reality. So that's what we have to face. Those are the realities we have to deal with. So, Ra. Get Ra, Prabhu. Yeah. This girl falls in love with this guy. He's amazing. She's amazing. And then the mother-in-law walks in. Oh, I didn't think about the mother-in-law. I thought it was just going to be us, you and me and nobody. But there's a mother, there's a father, there's a brother. And the brother doesn't like you. So it's not, these things are purifying. I know devotees who've told me that their brother-in-law hates them. And their brother-in-law is trying to break up the marriage. Actually, he succeeded in breaking up the marriage. So, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. That's all I can say. We don't want to be sadhu. We want to be in Maya. It's a new song, right? What is the name of this piano? His name is PSR, Yamaha PSR 730, which I think they still make it, but it's going to be different than this. If I were rich, I would get a new one. This is outdated. Until I get rich, then I'll just have to suffer with this one. Suffering is good. I will suffer with this keyboard. Okay, Gomati will talk. Asked about anugatva. There is a difference in acting independently and doing what Guru wants. Prabhupada was convinced by his Guru in his heart and by his brother. Ultimately, you want to do what your Guru wants, of course. Unless he wants you to get married, you can refuse. That Prabhupada said that. There's a one instruction you can refuse. Well, when I come to Guru, I will do whatever you want. And the Guru says, what do you want to do? But, some devotees want to take sannyas because they thought they would serve Prabhupada. So they kind of, Prabhupada, sannyas. That sannyas was very motivated. A lot of prestige there and so forth. Krishna Karshani says, you said once when a devotee said to Prabhupada that sometimes he is in Maya, Prabhupada answered, laughing, you are sometimes in Krishna consciousness. No, he said, you're always in Maya. No, he said, Prabhupada, sometimes I fall into Maya. And Prabhupada said, you are always in Maya, and sometimes you fall into Krishna. Like by accident, you fall into Krishna. So it seems that if we think we're not in Maya, we're an illusion. There are just different kinds of Maya, and we are changing one for another. Well, what I would say is, Prabhupada expected us to follow certain things. There's some beautiful statements by Prabhupada about what it means to be a pure devotee. He said, Prabhupada, what does it mean to be a pure devotee? Prabhupada said, chant Hare Krishna, 16 rounds, follow the 4 regular principles, follow my instructions, you're a pure devotee. Wow. So, a pure devotee can a pure devotee be in Maya? Well, according to that instruction, a little bit of, he may fall into Maya now and then, yeah. But because he's doing his best to follow Prabhupada, and he's basically following, Prabhupada considers him a pure devotee. But there are other statements like this, similar statements. So that, I might be in Maya, but at least I'm chanting 16 rounds, I follow the principles, etc. I do this, I do that. So, why am I a pure devotee? Because I'm following the instructions of the pure devotee as best I can. And then he sees me as a pure devotee because what he's giving me is pure. I follow it, those instructions purely, then we're doing good. Yes? You agree? You must agree. If you don't agree, what will happen to you? Only God knows. I will pray for you if you don't agree. Yeah. So that's the idea. Oh, Poland. Oh, that's another Divya Singha. From Poland. Oh, we have another Divya Singha from Delhi. I thought it was him. Rada Radhika says, I haven't heard gurus encouraging men to take up grihastha life, even though most of us are at the level on what we should do. Well, not all gurus are created equal. Lots of gurus. I know gurus encourage every one of their disciples to get married. They look at them and go, they're all lined up coming one by one. Out, get married. Out, get married. After like 5,000, they go, you take sannyas. But I know gurus like that who gave sannyas to a few disciples. The rest all get married. Fortunately, we see some men in ISKCON who are 60 plus after a few wives and getting married 20, 30-year-old girls. It seems they did not understand anything. Well, I think their head understood, but their heart... Yeah. Well, it just, it is what it is. Hare Krishna. Well, you could say they understood, but it's like, I guess they were looking at their life thinking, if I'm not married, I'll become a debauchee. And I'll, end up having girlfriends or something, so better I get married. That's probably how they were thinking. I just, I'll go crazy. If I don't get married, I'll kill somebody. But, okay, we have another one. How you doing, Prabhu? I'm punching my way through Grihastha Ashram. We started dancing. Okay, it's time for music. I don't have Bollywood music, though, to entertain you with. But, what do we have here? We'll have something. We'll try this. So, Bollywood music. We get married. Everything's good. Right? And all of a sudden, that's it. Watch out. Watch out. Now, if you go to my wife, she's a marriage counselor, she'll keep it going like this. But if you're on your own, it may end up like this. So, if you want to keep it going like this, then you might need her help. She's like helping so many devotees. It's amazing. She has a system she uses, and it's fantastic. So, if you're having trouble, or someone is having trouble, then let me know and we can see if she can help you. Okay, it's time to end class. Tonight at 7 o'clock we're talking about forgiveness and other good qualities from the philosophical point of view. You're welcome to attend if you're still awake. And if not, we will see you tomorrow. I don't think there's anything else going on. Hare Krishna to all of you. Thank you. Nice to see you. And we will see you later. Hare Krishna. And all I can say is, keep dancing. No fighting, only dancing. You know, I was in Mayapur and I would always say, what's your advice? I say, never stop dancing. That's my advice. Time to say goodbye. Okay, you want a goodbye song? Okay. We have a goodbye song? I don't know. This one may not be a goodbye song. Laugh your way back to Godhead, everyone, with your host, Mahatma Das. We'll see you tomorrow. When the Vaikuntha airplane comes, don't miss it. When the Vaikuntha airplane comes, don't run the other way. Just laugh your way back to Godhead. Or dance your way back to Godhead. Harimo, 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 Harimo. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.